As soon as we have more information, we will give that out. But we do ask the American public, please join us in praying for the victims, for our law enforcement. We've been saying for months that the rhetoric around our law enforcement, particularly ICE, the dehumanization, the demonization, has spun so far out of control, and that someone is going to get hurt or someone's going to get killed. And we hope that's not.
I got to tell you, I was planning on coming in talking about Donald Trump's kick-ass speech in front of the United Nations where he, did I say, kicked ass? It was a world-changing speech. He gave the world's despots a little what for, and all the elites in the world a little what for, and all of that. And we got Jimmy Kimmel's putrid return to late night that nobody watched, and I got some great thoughts on that. But then this had to happen. Democrats demonizing ICE has resulted in more people being injured. Democrats, there you go. Democrats once again calling ICE Nazis and fascists. It started a couple years ago. Kamala Harris did it when she was running for president, for God's sake. And now look what's happened.
What I can also share with you is that early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE.
I even wrote the expressions, the anti-ICE expressions on the shell casings, like they did the shell casing that killed Charlie Kirk. The same talking points that the Democrat Party has been echoing for years. This is not free speech. This should require people being arrested, removed from office altogether. This is the limit of free speech. This is shouting fire in a crowded theater, but worse. But much, 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 much worse. And there's no denying it now, and there's no asking for forgiveness now. This is Chuck Schumer talking about it. Here's Chuck Schumer talking about the ICE shooting in Dallas this morning. 4 people. Two people dead. One killed himself because he was the shooter, by the way, who wrote anti-ICE slogans on the shell casings. Another individual killed and 2 people injured. And here's Chuck Schumer this morning.
Their violence is just terrible. Everybody, right, left, center, I don't care what your
No. It's all left. It's all Democrat Party.
Politics has to speak out strongly against it. But look, I think, and I don't know what's happened here, and I don't know about the guns, but we need better laws on guns.
It's not about the guns, you giant flaming bleepity bleep.
I mean, we got something done a few years ago, but it's just rampant, and we have to do more.
Yeah. Wow. I got to tell you. That's just like evil, passive-aggressive projection, because he's the same jerk who said this.
I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
Into the streets! Into the streets! Into the streets!
And you will pay the price.
This is blood on the Democrat Party. That's it. This is blood on their hands. That's it. That's all. That is that.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. This is not the 1930s.
Secret police who are masked, who are intimidating, who are scaring people. These Gestapo-like tactics.
Wow. This is Gestapo-like behavior.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
When you compare the old films of the Gestapo grabbing people off the streets of Poland, it does look like a Gestapo operation.
You posted on social media that, quote, ICE is acting like a terrorist force.
ICE agents, they are coming and kidnapping and disappearing people on the streets of the United States.
But this terror campaign of having masked people rolling up in vans, but we also have to talk about the agents themselves that are carrying this out. If you have any decency, quit now. Because just doing what you were told has been the justification for some of the worst horrors and crimes against humanity.
Masked agents of the state in unmarked vehicles are terrorizing communities.
There you go. You did it. I'm not in a forgiving mood. This morning I put a piece on Substack about YouTube suddenly saying to all of those that they destroyed for free speech, including Dan Bongino. He created Rumble, by the way, because he was booted from YouTube. I'm not in a forgiving mood. I'm not going to forgive. I am not going to forgive the Democrat Party for using the language that got Donald Trump nearly assassinated twice, got Charlie Kirk assassinated, and now has caused 1,000% increase in violence against ICE agents, and now a shooting in Dallas where they wrote the same damn talking points on the shell casings. I'm done. I said this Democrat Party needed to be reinvented or disappear into the dustbin of history. This is not protected speech. Charlie Kirk is a martyr for free speech. Jimmy Kimmel is not. Oh, and here's the dumbest woman to ever run for office.
Ku Klux Klan. Ku Klux Klan.
Is that the Ku Klux Klan or the Gazpacho?
KK.
Well, the Klan was what we would call today a domestic terrorist group.
Why? Why would we call them domestic terrorist group?
Because they tried to use fear and force to change political environment.
And what was the motivation for the use of fear and force?
It was based on race and ethnicity.
Right. Are you aware of the perception of many about how the power and the discretion?
She's talking about ICE.
ICE is being used to enforce the laws? And do you see any parallels?
I do not see any parallels between
I'm talking about perception.
Officers and agents.
I'm talking about perception. That was 2 years ago, by the way. Oh, here's a little bit more from Kamala.
My values have not changed.
A hashtag abolish ICE, referring to the enforcement agency when it comes to immigration. Listen to what your colleague, Senator Kamala Harris, said about the idea of abolishing ICE. Here's what she told my colleague, Casey Hunt.
Examine ICE and its role and the way that it is being administered and the work it is doing. And we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
Abolish ICE. This is a refrain that we've heard increasingly from your Democratic colleagues, some even potential 2020 contenders like Bernie Sanders, Senator Kamala Harris, Senator Elizabeth Warren, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. They've all called to abolish ICE.
And the movement on the left of that party and some Democratic elected officials now joining it, Kamala Harris, to abolish ICE.
California Democrat Kamala Harris isn't one to mince her words, but comparing ICE to the KKK?
Yes, I think folks would argue that equating the KKK to ICE is reckless and irresponsible.
It is Senator Kamala Harris spitting on the graves of thousands of African Americans that were terrorized by the most powerful political.
The Democrat Party owns this. They own it. The Democrat Party owns the violence. The Democrat Party owns the summer of 2020. The Democrat Party owns the violence on the inauguration day, when Donald Trump was inaugurated. The Democrat Party owns the transgender shooters that have been killing people, mass shooting, even though they're a tiny percentage of the population, including the kids in Minnesota. Again, on the shell casings, the same talking points as the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party has blood on its hands. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. I'm telling you right now. I wrote this morning. I wrote this on Twitter this morning, and I would like you to hear this. Here's what I wrote this morning. I said last year that the tribulations we and Donald Trump survived resulting in the election avoided the rapture. Now we have a figurative rapture happening with those who have committed such evil against free speech, against the candidate, against humanity. Charlie Kirk's murder accelerated this. Those who celebrated his death and the assassination attempts on Donald Trump are going to be left behind. They are fading into irrelevance. They are dying like movie vampires, lashing out and trying to drag us into hell with them. There is a worldwide rebirth of faith and a desire for freedom that has not been seen in decades. This is a figurative rapture. Those who have committed acts of evil will suffer on earth while the rest of us celebrate. And I believe it. And I'm not a Bible banger, but I'm telling you, if you bed down with evil in this fashion, it's going to bite you in the ass. It's going to bite you in the butt. And no amount of Chuck Schumer going on TV this morning and say, it's just unacceptable. It shouldn't. Here he is.
I'm the author of the Brady Law.
Here he is. Listen, and he blames it on guns again.
Their violence is just terrible. Everybody, right, left, center, I don't care what
No, it's just left.
politics are, has to speak out strongly against it. But look, I think, and I don't know
Are you going to stop calling ICE agents Nazis? Are you going to stop calling conservatives fascists?
what's happened here, and I don't know about the guns.
They took their marching orders with Elon Musk. Elon Musk, who's actually going to, there will be a point where he's going to allow those who can't see to have sight, and those who can't hear to hear, and those who can't walk to walk. And yet you made him into hell, to Satan. You called him a fascist and a Nazi. And then I went to your stupid protests where your idiot leftists who've been brainwashed for a decade went out, got their marching orders, called him a fascist, burned his dealerships. Their followers, Democrats, went out and vandalized people who drove Teslas. There were people who were driving Tesla trucks in parades, were attacked with their children in the car. I mean, you have created this monstrous army. You have, and you have bedded down with other terrorists like Antifa, and you've allowed this to happen, but you've crossed a line. You've crossed a line with Charlie Kirk's death, and this is it. You're done. This speech cannot continue. You better tone it down, or you're going to have people coming after you in law enforcement, people who are going to come after you and for legitimate abuses of the First Amendment. This is not protected speech. And it is now resulting in a body count, and there's got to be something that brings down the temperature on your side with the army that you created with a decade of brainwashing and the support of a slavish media that is fading into irrelevance. Got a lot of stuff on this today. Much better things to talk about, including Donald Trump's glorious speech to the United Nations. It was amazing. And of course, Jimmy Kimmel. I've got some thoughts nobody else is going to have on this. Nobody else is going to have on it. But here's the number, 800-922-6680. This is The Rob Carson Show.
Rent-free in libs' heads I'm living, the fits I am giving to Whoopi, Sonny, and Joy. Rent-free, I'm occupying, Rosie is lying if she says I'm not in her head. Break free, they simply can't do it. When you get down to it, they have TDS real bad. Hatred, just watch it as it spreads, because inside their heads I live. Well, I'm gonna pay a visit. I'm headed to the Everglades. Gonna see a brand new prison for folks arrested in ICE raids. I hear it's already getting all kinds of accolades. Alligator Alcatraz, it's where illegals will be kept. We're cracking down, unlike Biden, who was totally inept. It is something that the liberals in Florida cannot accept. California Alcatraz, I want to open that one too. Just imagine the hard time that real criminals will do. Alligator Alcatraz, I'm gonna take a tour of you. Letitia James is gonna be in trouble. The FBI is looking at her loan. They just launched a new investigation. The name Letitia gave was not her own. I hope they nail her, jail her, send her to the slammer. She should be fired, retired for all the laws she broke. Letitia James is through, you know it's true. I'll be excited when she's indicted. Letitia's gonna get handcuffed and I think I like it. I'll be delighted when she's indicted. I know that she's guilty. Letitia's going down. She'll be run out of town. The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
I do want to know, if he was shooting at detainees, then we got a problem, because due process does not include a citizen taking a shot.
Yeah, Trey, you're high, because they were anti-ICE slogans on the shell casings of the 3 people who were shot at an ICE facility in Dallas. But of course, Trey, you usually get everything wrong. That's why you're relegated to, a weekend show like me. I have a national radio show that, of course, makes up the difference. But honestly, wow, I got to tell you, this is just more of the same crap. Here is CNN, of course, not knowing the motive of the shooter.
Those ICE agents not shot or hurt. We do not know, however, the motive of the shooter. That still remains,
even though there was some anti-ICE slogans written on the shell casings,
an open question and will be under investigation.
Oh, this is why CNN is so dead. I mean, just honestly, so beyond dead, it's not even funny. Yeah, that's what happened today. A sniper at an ICE facility in Dallas shot 3 people, then shot himself or herself or itself or she, they, whatever. Probably transgender. Who the hell knows? But it's the result of a barrage of violent rhetoric, not a war of words of war that the Democrat Party has been using for a decade, that has resulted in a trail of destruction to the tune of billions of dollars, injuries of thousands of police officers, a body count in the summer of 2020 of over 30 people, and then, of course, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I'm just done. I'm just done. Done with this nonsense. There is no negotiating with the Democrat Party. They need to be. They need to let them destroy themselves. And for those who've used this language has to stop. Or members of Congress who use things, call us things like fascist and Nazi and all that, need to be removed from their office, because there is no doubt about this whatsoever. This is not protected speech. This is 10 times worse than what we ever imagined shouting fire in a crowded theater. It is much, much worse than shouting fire in a crowded theater. It is literally telling people that law enforcement is so despicable that they are Nazis, and they are fascists. They are fascists, and then you are planting this seed in a brainwashed populace. A lot of the people who are mentally ill anyway, and then of course just kind of lighting the fuse, backing up, plugging your ears, and watching it explode. Kind of like Barack Obama when he left the White House. I said when he left the White House, he was like the Joker when the Joker was walking away from the hospital wearing the nurse's garb and hit the explosive device. But what Barack Obama did was he knew the fire he started in the White House, and there was a trail of gasoline leading from there, and he casually flipped a cigarette into the gas and watched it blow up. So this is all about fundamentally changing America. None of this is by accident. It is meant to be destructive, and honestly, it's time for the adults to take charge. It's time for the adults to take charge. We had 2 assassination attempts of Donald Trump using the same sort of language. Joe Biden, for no reason, stood in front of Independence Hall a couple years ago and called us MAGA fascists, enemies of democracy, called Donald Trump Hitler and all of that. And honestly, enough is enough is enough. It isn't going to be enough to go after people after they've tried to murder or successfully murdered people. It's got to be going after the people who are using this sort of incendiary language because they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They want to create chaos. They want to create violence. This is a civil war that has been declared on us, on our country, and it's been going on for years. We haven't fought back. We are waiting for our champion to come to the White House and end it. And by the way, he's there. In case you want to know, he's there now. Donald Trump went to the United Nations, and he seriously kicked some butt yesterday. We're going to move into this portion of the show, and we'll cover ICE developments as they develop. This is Donald Trump, provided I can get it to play. Donald Trump yesterday.
It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of...
And the United Nations didn't even call. This is why the United Nations needs to be emptied. Donald Trump needs to buy it and convert it into condos. And I'll just say, I want Eritrea's office. That's the one. I got a low budget.
Each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. What is the purpose of the United Nations? The UN has such tremendous potential, but it's not even coming close to living up to that potential.
No, it's a piece of crap.
For the most part, at least for now, all they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter.
Yeah.
And then never follow that letter up.
No, they don't. And then they spend hundreds of millions of dollars to bring people into our country across the southern border illegally. It needs to be broken apart and gotten rid of and made into condos. And then, of course, on top of all of this, the petulant leftist children decided to have a little fun with Donald Trump, and they may be in a whole hell of a lot of trouble.
And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. What is the purpose of the United Nations? The UN has such tremendous potential. I've always said it. It has such tremendous, tremendous potential, but it's not even coming close to living up to that potential.
Yeah, it's a failure. You got people on the Security Council who are despotic regimes that imprison people for political speech, kind of like we did a couple years ago, with January the 6th and whatnot. I've got much more on this. Also, I got new satire from Jim Gossett, which will certainly lighten the mood on the Rob Carson Show on this glorious hump day. We'll take a break and come back. Don't go anywhere.
Well, they have a lot of cats, and they're mostly Democrats like B.B. Harris. They cry when they lose from their left-wing views. I wish they'd spare us. They're cat ladies. Whoa, 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 they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who have clearly lost their mind.
People that are pro-life, I hate you!
Got called out by J.D. Vance. When he had the chance, he really nailed them. They're too dumb to know. Kamala and Joe have really failed them. They're cat ladies. Don't have a child, they're cat ladies. Talking about some miserable ladies who are out of their minds.
I'm going to demand a drug test here. I am. No, I really am.
If Joe had to pee in a bottle, if to a drug test he'd submit would prove that he's been shot up with drugs and that he's completely unfit. If Joe had to pee in a bottle, would we find some of Hunter's cocaine, Adderall, some caffeine, and a handful of uppers to stimulate Joe's feeble brain? I would bet a lot of dough if they tested Sleepy Joe, then he'd fail. If Joe had to debate and he had to do it straight, then he'd bail.
He's going to be so jacked up for those debates you watch.
Joe would fail.
This land's not your land. This land is our land. From the coast of Cali to a New York alley, nothing would be finer than to sell it to China. This land was made for the CCP. Crime is through the ceiling. There's no racial healing. Schools teach CRT. Teachers are trannies. Biden is left wing. He's owned by Beijing. Joe sold his soul to the CCP. This land's not your land. This land is our land, and we'll destroy it. That's what we've got planned. 2Z will cower till he takes power. This land is for the CCP.
What kind of Democrat are you? Liberal, moderate, centrist?
Pragmatic.
Pragmatic.
Yeah.
I consider myself to be a progressive. A physical wall is no.
I also believe that we need to transition and encourage renewable energy.
I certainly want to protect every person who might be interested in arriving at the United States.
The really, I think, horrifying thing is that under the new administration, or the Trump administration, every cross into the United States is considered a criminal act.
I think that single payer is a really great direction to go towards.
We're doing right by the people who have devoted themselves to the prospect of and the promise of diversity, equity, inclusion.
Wow.
I don't think we need to plead guilty to being a progressive. I think it's generally considered to be a positive thing.
That is a Democrat running for governor in the state of Virginia. It's everything that Kamala Harris wanted and got beaten. But, of course, she's doing like Democrats do, just sticking to the campaign trail, not answering the serious questions from anybody and thinking that she can just slide by. John Reid is running for lieutenant governor in the great state of Virginia, running against a person who is as left of center or even more so. And hopefully we'll see Mr. Reid and win some seats Sears in the governor's office and the lieutenant governor's office in a couple of months. Welcome to the show, John Reid. How are you today, sir?
I am great. I am just leaving Roanoke, Virginia. I was in Lexington this morning, where Virginia Military Institute is located. And then I went across to Washington and Lee University. That freaks all the crazy leftists out. They can't handle American history or Virginia history. So what do they want to do, erase it? I refuse to allow that to happen. It's one reason I'm running, is this horrible Marxist idea that we should erase everything we find problematic. Has got to stop in America, and I intend to stop it right here in Virginia.
I got to tell you, I told you this when I moved to Old Town Alexandria. I've seen all these old buildings. I've seen these street signs with names still on them, like Washington and Jefferson and whatnot, and I recognize what the left wanted to erase, and by God, no nation is perfect, and we should be proudest that we have become this person. We have become a more perfect union. We're not perfect, but we're becoming a more perfect union, and those who hate America, I got no time for them, John. Now I want to ask you this, because I got people texting me, a spam burger, she's going to be, she's way ahead in all of this, and whatever. I've been seeing some amazing turnout, early voting for Republicans. What's going on, and what have you been seeing?
Yeah, the Republicans are awake. I think it's awful that the death of Charlie Kirk has alarmed some people, but you know what? It should alarm you. This is crazy. Not just that a 31-year-old young man with a wife and 2 kids would be assassinated for daring to speak in public with people who disagree with him. I mean, does anybody get what is happening here? This isn't even a political figure going around the country giving major speeches. This is a guy who was debating, and then the reaction, Christian conservatives, Republicans, even middle-of-the-road people were all horrified by this, but there's a core group of people that I'm shocked do not have the basic decency to denounce that type of ugly murder in our midst, and they are making excuses for it. And I think people are waking up saying, it wasn't just about Donald Trump being vindicated with his win last year. This is about making sure that we don't empower any of these radical leftists. And Virginia is, I hate to say it, full of people who want to use the power of the government to stomp on their opponents.
I know.
And that's one reason I left my job. I'm not going to allow it to happen if I have any say.
Yeah, I saw Benny Johnson posted this morning something I've already mentioned today. Charlie Kirk's assassin used ammo engraved with Antifa, anti-fascist messages. The Dallas ICE facility shooter used ammo engraved with anti-ICE messages. The pattern is impossible to ignore. The Democrat Party is not a party for good. I don't care what state it is. I don't care what it is nationally. You look at what they stand for, including mutilating children for this fantasy that they could be the opposite gender, and your Democrat opponent and Abigail Spamberger both are in favor of that nonsense. All of this crazy. They're down with it. They're just not talking about it. They want to skate through the election with a lot of money coming in from the outside, overwhelming you guys with ads and not answering the questions of what they're planning on doing to Virginia.
Well, that's why Abigail Spamberger, who was at one point my congresswoman, so I know her pretty well, she has told my opponent, Ghazala Hashmi, this radical state senator, that she's not supposed to talk in public. That's why Ghazala refuses to do any debates. But, people are waking up to it. Even some Democrats. Rob, last night I unveiled a kind of gutsy plan to bring moderate Democrats, maybe not into the Republican Party. That might be a step too far for them. But to this election, I unveiled a group of civic leaders and business leaders and, quite frankly, some former Democrat political leaders who are now endorsing me for lieutenant governor because they served with this lady, and they know that she is a radical, and they do not want to have anything to do with her. And they've also observed me as a public figure, as a talk show host, a news reporter, and quite frankly, as a staffer for a U.S. senator who tried to reach across the aisle. And they have confidence that I'll be reasonable and responsible and fair in the face of this really kind of gross leftist movement. And,
Well,
I'm honored to have him come over to me.
I'm telling you, and I said this when Donald Trump went through the tribulations, the attempted assassinations, the censorship of you and me, and all of the things, the going after CRT parents in Fairfax County and Loudoun County and across the country, all of these things that they did to us. And I said there's going to be an awakening that sweeps around the world of good and faith and patriotism, and it is happening here. It is happening here. And then the movement toward good, godly good, was accelerated to light speed with the murder of Charlie Kirk. And this, there is no doubt about the people whose names were on, the rhetoric that was on the shell casings, etc. This belongs to the Democrat Party. And so I would encourage. Go ahead.
If you're a Christian conservative, if you're a person of faith, I can understand why you have been repulsed and you have said maybe in your head, I'm going to leave this to God. I don't want to be in the middle of this. That is a luxury we can no longer afford. No. And I also want to be honest with you. You're never going to find candidates you agree with 100% of the time. You're never going to find the perfect candidate. Jesus Christ is not running for any of these offices.
Yeah.
So please don't be confused. There's never going to be a perfect person. But if somebody is willing to stand up and fight for you, if they proclaim their faith in public, then it's incumbent upon you to step up and save the country. And in my case, save Virginia. That's why Winsom's running. That's why I'm running. Jason's running. Not to push religion on anyone, but to use the best of our Judeo-Christian traditions to save the society and hopefully to create a world that we can all be happy and live in peace.
Yes, and by the way, your opponent and Abigail Spanberger are the antithesis of America, of what America is, was, and will be, and they will take us back. Listen, John Reid for Virginia.com is where you need to go. John, is there any way else our audience can help your campaign in the state of Virginia?
Well, I can always use the money because
Yes,
I've
sir.
run out of money for signs.
Yes, sir.
But you know what? Follow me on Facebook, John Reid for Lieutenant Governor, on X. I mean, I hope if you follow this campaign that you will be nodding your head like, that guy's working hard, and I agree with what he's saying, and you want to be a part of this.
It's time to come together. It's time to come together across party lines for the better of our country and the better of the state of Virginia that I am proud to call my home. John, God bless you, brother, on the campaign trail. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you next week. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. When you hear the national debt is
renewing our commitment, values, and those values really that we hold so dear together. Let us defend free speech and free expression. Let us protect religious liberty, including for the most persecuted religion on the planet today. It's called Christianity.
Oh, yeah.
And let us safeguard our sovereignty and cherish qualities that have made each of our nations so special, incredible, and extraordinary.
Wow, a president who actually had the balls to defend Christianity on the world stage when it is under attack, particularly by radical Islam. He didn't say some very good things about radical Islam. That's another reason he has balls. He said this in front of the UN General Assembly about radical, violent Islam. Not all Islamists, just the ones who commit all the murders and everything.
About it. And I have to say, I look at London, where you have a terrible mayor, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law. But you're in a different country. You can't do that. Both the immigration and their suicidal energy ideas will be the death of Western Europe if something is not done immediately. This cannot be sustained. What makes the world so beautiful is that each country is unique. But to stay this way, every sovereign nation must have the right to control their own borders. You have the right to control your borders.
Imagine that. Niall Gardner on the UK Daily Mail said it was all about ending open borders, stopping importing criminals, defending sovereignty, fighting Islamist extremism, standing up for Christianity, end the vast, expensive net zero climate policies, because if you don't, your countries are going to hell. That's what he said yesterday. Oh my God. Trump's message will have resonated with tens of millions of ordinary people across Europe, including the UK, who are angry and in despair over the impact of mass migration, both legal and illegal, into their countries. I said this yesterday when Blaine Holt was on the show with me. I said he wasn't talking to the jackweeds in that room. He was talking to the people around the world who are tired of being led by these people. That's what it was yesterday. That's why it was so freaking fantastic. Here's Donald Trump talking about Iran.
The world's number one sponsor of terror can never be allowed to possess the most dangerous weapon. That's why shortly after taking office, I sent the so-called Supreme Leader a letter making a generous offer. I extended a pledge of full cooperation in exchange for a suspension of Iran's nuclear program.
What happened?
The regime's answer was to continue their constant threats to their neighbors and U.S. interests throughout the region.
What'd we do?
Today, many of Iran's former military commanders, in fact, I can say almost all of them, are no longer with us. They're dead.
Aww.
And 3 months ago, in Operation Midnight Hammer, 7 American B-2 bombers dropped the 14 30,000-pound each bombs on Iran's key nuclear facilities, totally obliterating everything.
Yeah. And then he went after all the green energy bullcrap that we've been fed. I can say that now without being taken off of YouTube and everything. The climate change is nonsense. It's all bullcrap.
You know, it used to be global cooling. If you look back years ago in the 1920s and the 1930s, they said
Ice Age.
Global cooling will kill the world.
Oh, yeah.
We have to do something.
Sure. That was the 70s.
Then they said global warming will kill the world. Definitely. But then it started getting cooler, so now they could just call it climate change, because that way they can't miss.
Yeah.
It's climate change.
Yeah.
Because if it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, there's climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others,
it's all crap,
often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign.
Oh, you know how you know he's had a successful speech? When the media freaks out about it.
This was not a normal UN speech. We can say that with confidence. It read and sounded more like a MAGA stump speech.
Hells to the yes.
Than a speech to the assembled world. He attacked the UN itself.
Yeah.
He took credit for
Because it sucks.
great reductions in migration into this country,
Yeah,
and then
we
he said
did.
to
It was
U.S.
awesome.
allies in Europe, your countries are going to hell. He
Yeah,
attacked
pretty much.
not just renewable energy, but climate science. He said, listen,
Because it's all bullcrap.
I'm always right.
I am not surprised the president did what he did.
Oh, my God.
What I am surprised by is that the nations, the leaders of the world, still show up to listen to what he has to say. And I wonder now if they show up because it's the sort of the global equivalent of going to a stand-up comedy show.
Sure. You keep telling yourself that. Jonathan Capehart. Jim Gossett as the Prezi.
The escalator broke. The prompter stopped before I spoke.
Nice try, guys. Nice try.
The UN had it in for me,
You still kicked ass.
but they were too blind to see.
Here we go.
At the UN, I was on fire. Letting Europe have it was my desire.
Awesome.
They could not stop me.
Mega worldwide, baby.
I was on fire.
You can't stop it.
We're so on fire.
It's a worldwide movement now.
The United Nations received my ire. Of their games I'd begun to tire. So I shook things up.
And he did.
I was on fire. We're so on fire.
Oh my goodness!
We're so on fire.
They even tried to shut down the escalator and the teleprompter because they're petulant little leftist children. But you know what? Donald Trump. It's good to be the king, baby. And you're no kings. Yeah, no, it's good to be the king. It is good to be the king. If you don't understand that, it's not about the king. It's about who's in charge. That's it. And the world is going. This is going worldwide, whether you like it or not. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. I know, Jim Gossett is a genius, Tom K. on Rumble. He's a friggin' genius. And he got another song next hour that's going to kick your butt. Oh, my God. Incredible, incredible, incredible. Let's see here. The Rob Carson Show is great. Mandy Ratliff says that on the YouTube. We only started on YouTube yesterday because, everybody's so terrified we're going to get censored and everything. So that's just the way it is. What else we got here? Stay highly positive. Sabrina G says, hell yeah. You know what, guys? This is what I'm here for. I'm here to do my level best to use joy and patriotism and comedy. That's it. Yes, God bless Rob Carson for giving us news reports and his opinions on current events. Well, Catherine, I do try to do that. Thank you very much. While also being an entertainer. Those of you guys on YouTube who have never watched the show before, I used to write for a guy named Rush Limbaugh, talent on loan from God. Let's see. Emmanuel D. Tam J says, bless you, Rob Carson. Nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. God has blessed me. I mean it. God has blessed me. He's given me insight. He's given me resolve, and I'm very blessed. You can't say he's a he. Oh, whatever. I don't care. Doesn't matter. I'm just using leftist rhetoric. They don't believe in God anyway, but they don't want you to call God a he. That's for sure. Oh, my goodness. We got a lot of people watching on the Twitter. Got a lot of people watching, including the moron over there on Rumble, Obamaroid ointment, who has had nothing to do with his, her, it's, the, they, them in a while. So you don't pay any attention to them because, honestly, you're just a turd burger. You're a turd burglar. You're a turd burger without the bread. That's what you are. You're a crap sandwich without the bread. Oh, let's see what else over on the Facebook. Who's on the Facebook? Let's see. Dale and Gail. Greg, love Jim Gossett. Me too. Robert Lawson, love it. Love your show, Rob. Kathy Domon says, appreciate that. It's growing. It's growing by leaps and bounds. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Okay. Here's Donald Trump yesterday after the amazing UN speech where Donald Trump, you know what, you talk about the New World Order. The New World Order is this New World Order. It's toward good and patriotism and freedom, not what the UN has been involved in. Here's Donald Trump after the speech talking with Emmanuel Macron et fromage from France about a Palestinian state.
Well, I think it honors Hamas, and you can't do that because of October 7th. You just can't do that. But we want our hostages back, and we don't want them back in ones and twos and take the next 2 years to do it. We were the ones that got the hostages back, and I always said, I told Steve, I told Marco, I was always saying the last hostages are going to be the toughest ones. But you can't honor them by doing anything like you suggest. All you can do is say...
You had your shot at a Palestinian state and you blew it. So you know what? If France wants to maybe give over the Loire River Valley to the Palestinian state, go for it.
We want our hostages back, and we want the war to end. We're going to want it to end. But you always have to remember, people forget October 7th was one of the most savage days in the history of the world. There's never been anything like that. We're talking about babies being sliced in half. You're talking about young children having their heads chopped off. You can't forget that.
No. They got to be wiped from the face of the earth. That's what I said. Evacuate the innocent. Raze Gaza. R-A-Z-E Gaza. I always get flagged on Twitter when I put that up there. Here's Lindsey Graham. Boy, he was all excited about this speech.
It's everything that Biden didn't do, everything Obama didn't do. They go to the UN and apologize for our greatness as a country. But when it comes to America first, this was a good example of it. He told the UN, you're more the problem than the solution. These 7 wars that he ended, if it weren't for Donald Trump, they'd all be going on. Rwanda and Congo has been going on for 37 years. It really does matter who's in the White House. This guy's a cross between P.T. Barnum and Ronald Reagan. He's in everybody's head. God bless you, President Trump, for standing up in the UN and telling the world the way it is. We don't have to live this way. The Trumps have changed everything. This world is better off for President Trump being president, and there's a new sheriff in town, and you saw it today.
And if you've been listening to this show, you know that I've been saying this for a long time, that there would be a worldwide turn toward freedom and faith, and it's happening. And they killed Charlie Kirk, and that put it on light speed. That speech yesterday was a message to the people of the world, not the idiots in charge of their country. Hour number 2 of the Rob Carson Show is right ahead. If I were you, I wouldn't go anywhere.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
When it's settled, Ukraine will get back all of its land. So it sounds like they kind of pissed off Donald Trump. I'm thinking Vladimir Putin kind of, well, obviously really ticked off Donald Trump. Did a little backstabbing, said they were going to do something, and then ended up, bombing the snot out of Ukraine. I'm not taking sides on this. I'm not a big fan of Ukraine. I certainly am not a fan of the leader of Ukraine, because half the money we sent him while Joe Biden was the president was siphoned off and spent on other things than the fight by the fight. So there you go. Anyway, this is happening today in Dallas. An ICE facility was shot. 3 people shot, 1 killed. The shooter killed him, her, they, self. Could have been transgender for all we know. But this was an attack. On the shell casings was written anti-ICE slogans.
An officer in North Texas for your support. This is the second time I've had to stand in front of you and talk about a shooter.
This is the director of the Texas ICE facility.
At one of my facilities, and I think that the takeaway from all of this is that the rhetoric has to stop. There are people out there who are seeing what is being placed online, and they're coming and they're doing acts of violence against ICE employees.
Yeah, and they need to be held accountable, like Gavin Newsom.
That's happening in the United States of America. Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process. No.
You're a lying sack of crap.
No oversight, zero accountability.
With veneers and hair gel.
Billy, happening in the United States of America today. People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? Bull, we're being hyperbolic. If you're black and brown.
Yeah, you're being hyperbolic.
Our community, it's here in this country. And so
You are honestly, wow, I got to tell you. Anti-ICE written on the shell casings. This after, Kamala Harris and others started targeting ICE before Donald Trump was elected. They wanted to set the table because, Donald Trump was going to make all the illegals that Joe Biden allowed to come in across the southern border unvetted, going to allow them to vote and stuff. Yeah, that's why they gave them all the free stuff. So the Democrat Party, again, they're like movie vampires. They're like movie vampires. They are dragging, kicking, trying to drag us in hell with them. And we're not going. From Kash Patel, FBI director, this morning at about 7 o'clock a.m. local time, an individual fired multiple rounds at a Dallas, Texas ICE facility, killing 1, wounding several others before taking his own life. FBI, DHS, ATF are on the ground with Dallas PD and state authorities while the investigation is ongoing. An initial review of the evidence shows the ideological motive behind this attack. One of the unspent shell casings recovered was engraved with phrase anti-ICE. More updates forthcoming. These despicable, politically motivated attacks against law enforcement are not a one-off. We are only miles from Prairieland, Texas, where just 2 weeks ago an individual ambushed a separate ICE facility targeting their officers. Oh, yeah, and then Jackweed, who we just played, Gavin Newsom, he signed into legislation a bill that would allow or tell law enforcement they couldn't wear masks. But the problem is it doesn't mean D-word when it comes to federal officers, so it's moot. But this is what they've done. This is the monster that they've created. The Democrat Party, on a number of different fronts, have called people like Donald Trump Nazi fascist, ICE officers Nazi fascist, Gestapo, Charlie Kirk Nazi fascist, white supremacist. Donald Trump was nearly killed twice. Charlie Kirk was murdered just 2 weeks ago because of this. And I'm done with it. Done with it. It's time for the children to get a spanking. I mean it. It is time. They've run roughshod over our country. They have left damage, untold damage. They have partnered with the devil, including Antifa, among others. And I got to tell you, we have to be done with it. We have to be done with it. This is not protected speech. If you hear another Democrat say fascist or Nazi about Donald Trump, his followers, his voters like me, or a prominent conservative, they got to be called out. It has got to be stopped. It has got to be stopped. Rather than picking up the shell casings afterwards, the Nike needs to stop before it starts. By the way, just real quick, because they're a terrific sponsor of this radio program. Birch Gold is offering you guys something if you have not invested in gold yet, all right? For now through the end of this month, which now is only 6 days away, if you're a first-time gold buyer and you text my name, Rob, to 989898 and convert an existing IRA or 401k or savings into gold, you're eligible for up to a $10,000 rebate in precious metals. Oh, my goodness. Gold is on a record run. It's up 35% since the beginning of this year. 35%. I mean, it's unbelievable. So what you got to do, again, text my name, Rob, to 989898, and I would suggest you do it today because it takes a little while to get the ball rolling. You can't just text on September the 30th and then have Birch Gold convert your savings to gold right away. Ain't going to happen that way. Don't have a magic wand. So, Rob to 989898, and you'll be eligible up to $10,000 in precious metals. And you know what a fan of heavy metal I am. 100%. So the Democrats are pulling this nonsense on the budget again, and they're going to try and shut down the government. But they know they don't have any cards in their hand right now because Donald Trump is becoming more popular by the day. Oh, by the way, Treasury posts unexpected surplus in June as tariff receipts surge. Oh, my God, put down your Wall Street Journal and pay attention. Oh, my God, you were wrong about everything. You guys, you were terrified that tariffs were going to destroy the economy. Terrified. All we asked was that the world give us a frickin' break and compete fairly. How about that? $27 billion for 1 month, up from $23 billion in May, and a 300% gain from June of 2024. Wow. Isn't that amazing? What common sense and fairness. We have a real chief executive here. All right, George Bush liked to think he was a chief executive. He owned a baseball team. But really, it was a terrible chief executive. Donald Trump is a chief executive. He did a thing called The Art of the Deal. I don't know if you knew that. You might want to pick that up because it's working. It's working pretty amazing. That said, the Democrats are pulling a lot of nonsense. They're looking for, a new budget, right? And they're going to try the CR and all that. And the Democrats are threatening a shutdown. Here's Mike Johnson. The Democrats are acting like they won something. They don't have, they're not in the position to demand anything. But they're still demanding the same crap. Listen to Mike Johnson.
We offered a totally clean short-term CR to get that job done. Chuck Schumer saw that. He returned a counteroffer that is filled with partisan wish lists and poison pills and demands. It includes, for example, Brett, what Chuck Schumer is arguing for. He wants to reinstate free health care for illegal aliens.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I don't have free health care for me.
He wants to add $500 million to prop up liberal media outlets.
No, it ain't going to happen. Screw NPR and PBS.
And he wants to add a massive $1.4 trillion spending hike to what should be a simple 7-week stopgap funding measure. We can't do that.
Enough of that bull crap. Enough of it. Enough. We ought to go back to the spending levels pre-COVID. We ought to cut $3.5 trillion off of our spending because that bleep is over. We've been suffering for years. That has got to end. And that's the next thing they're going to have to do is start cutting spending. This is Chuck Schumer begging to meet with Donald Trump all of a sudden after calling a fascist and a Nazi and all that.
This is going to be Donald Trump's shutdown.
Okay, so there he is. Donald Trump shut down. Now he tries to kiss Donald Trump's butt.
Democrats are ready to work with the president. We're willing to sit down with him today. Tomorrow we'll even come to the golf course and sit down with him. Wherever he wants to go. That's okay.
Yeah, the only problem is you don't sit down on a golf course. But you wouldn't know that because you're an idiot. Oh, yeah, this is the same party that says this.
Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
This guy's tendencies towards leaning towards dictatorship is un-American.
It is deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler, the man...
Yeah, screw you and screw your budget and screw your party. I wouldn't negotiate one little bit. And if you want to shut down the government, I think most people wouldn't even care. All it's going to do is give a paid holiday with a delayed payday for government employees who already make 70% more than the rest of us and actually have retirement plans, which you and I don't have. A lot of us don't have retirement plans unless we set up on our own. We don't get pensions out here in the real world. Honestly, that you would try this nonsense when you are not in a position to demand anything, Democrat Party. And honestly, after the shootings in Dallas this morning, I'd be treading real lightly because you have lit a fire. You guys have lit a fire with all this nonsense, all of this violent rhetoric, and you've run roughshod over this country. And the murder of Charlie Kirk changed everything. And if you don't think that's going to impact the Democrat Party, who, by the way, uses the same language that was inscribed on the shell casing that murdered Charlie Kirk, you got another thing coming. You got another thing coming, and that's a butt kicking, by the way. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Texting enrolls you into
Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are Rob Carson's friends. Better believe that they'll be friends to the end. Willie! A new coalition to promote freedom. They're all about liberty. The perfect trio to combat the left and look out for you and me. Mamas, please let your babies grow up to be homeboys. Hillbillies and Hebrews is who you should raise. You'll receive nothing but absolute praise. Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are saving this country. They love this land and they'll give you a hand. We need to give them our thanks. Homeboys, hillbillies, and Hebrews are friends to this nation. They've got our back when we're under attack. Homeboys, hillbillies, Hebrews.
We're eating pickles from the dollar store, hot pockets from the Dollar General, chicken wings expired yesterday. We're eating pickles from the dollar store, hot pockets from the Dollar General, chicken wings expired yesterday.
It's the FBI Puppet Show with our special guest star, Christopher Reid. Yay!
The FBI screw up, promote election theft. They do Joe Biden's bidding cause they're puppets for the left.
It's not that easy going green. Before you know it, we'll have $10 gasoline. And stupid windmills that don't work. The left has gone berserk. It's not easy going green when you have to pay through the nose for an EV. And 10 grand for a battery. And the piece of crap won't start. When green is all there is to be, what will become of you and me? We'll be living in a Great Depression because of going green.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
Is Jimmy Kimmel the reason why he got suspended? It wasn't Donald Trump who did it, by the way. It was the network and its affiliate stations, 65 of which decided not to carry this Jackweed's show last night. Here's the media last night. Oh, they were worked into a lather. They thought this was going to be the biggest thing in late night television. It was a fart in an F5 hurricane.
Breaking news on Jimmy Kimmel and autism.
Jimmy Kimmel coming back to late night television.
ABC chose to bring back their low-rating nighttime host.
We are in for a monologue that will be a marker in late night show history.
It's going to be a moment.
Yeah, no question, a huge moment in American history.
It's one of the most pivotal moments in broadcast history.
He will be delivering what is being dubbed the most anticipated monologue in late night in years.
No, it's just crap, actually. It's all just crap. He was a petulant little moron, and he's made the show into an editorial sounding board for his leftist politics. He has stricken conservative guests, except for Mike Lindell. They put him in a claw toy machine to humiliate him. And then, of course, all of his punchlines are anti-Trump. And he's not a good person. He's not a funny person. But that's fine. I didn't want him pulled. I didn't even care. Nobody's watching him. He's getting beaten by Greg Gutfeld, and Greg Gutfeld doesn't have all the celebrities on that this jerk does. So who really cares? But here is old Jimmy Kimmel last night. He was putting on the tears like he did when Donald Trump kicked Kamala's butt.
It was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man.
Oh, dear God.
I don't think there's anything funny about it.
Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group.
Yeah, it was. You blamed Trump supporters.
For the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual.
Oh, yeah.
That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make. Yeah. I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who believed violence was a solution, and it isn't.
No, I want an apology to Trump supporters for you saying what you did. Because you absolutely blamed it on Trump supporters, there's no doubt.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. And
yeah, there you go. He did it, so there's no doubt about it at all. Here's a little bit more from Jimmy Kimmel on his return last night.
They've defended my right to poke fun at our leaders and to advocate for subjects that I think are important by allowing me to use their platform, and I am very grateful for that. With that said, I was not happy when they pulled me off the air on Wednesday. I did not agree with that.
Yeah, and then you know what he did to show his insincerity? He went on to attack Donald Trump, who had nothing to do with him being sidelined for 6 days.
The President of the United States made it very clear he wants to see me and the hundreds of people who work here fired from our jobs.
No.
Our leader...
He would be fine with it, but he didn't do it.
...celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because...
Why didn't you say anything about all the people who lost their jobs when Joe Biden was the president?
He can't take a joke. He was somehow able to squeeze Colbert out of CBS. Then
no, his ratings and they're bleeding money. That did it, actually.
He turned his sights on me.
You guys have ruined late night.
And now he's openly rooting for NBC to fire Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers and the hundreds of Americans.
Yeah, me too. I'd like to see them fired because they've destroyed late night.
Who work for their shows, who don't make millions of dollars. And I hope that if that happens, or if there's even any hint of that happening, you will be 10 times as loud as you were this week. Yeah. We have to speak out.
Yeah, you made it back. Oh, that's so fantastic. I'm going to show you, I'm going to share some broadcast history with you. I wasn't alive when this happened, but there was a procession of late night that happened from the 50s through now. Started with Steve Allen. Steve Allen had a show, and then he gave it up to Jack Parr. Jack Parr left, and Johnny Carson took over. Then Jay Leno, and then Jackweed over here taking over. But here is Jack Parr in 1960. before I was born. And he did something actually brave because he was censored on his show. He made a joke about a toilet. I don't even remember exactly what it was, but he was on a broadcast entity with affiliates that had licenses. And here is what he had to say when he left of his own volition.
Last night I told a little story.
And by the way, he was seen by like 50, 70 million people. Jimmy Kimmel will never be seen by that many people.
That I thought was about as funny as anything I had ever been given. It was a story. I'm not going to go into it because they'll cut me off again. But it is not at all, in any sense of the word, an obscene story. True, the story perhaps should not be told at 8 o'clock on Sunday night, but at this hour, it certainly could be told. It was very adult and very funny. 300 people in this audience laughed like they haven't laughed perhaps in some time. Of course, that's no excuse, is it? But then I said, was it all right? Was anyone offended? There wasn't one voice, and frequently there are voices that are surprised. This was cut out of the show last night, and I cannot understand why. Cutting it out is the right of NBC to do, but not so in some way telling you the content of it leaves a terrible impression in your mind.
Yes.
I'm leaving the Tonight Show.
Wow.
There must be a better way of making a living than this. There's a way of entertaining people without being constantly involved in some form of controversy.
This was when he was gigantic. Jimmy Kimmel will never be that. And here is what Jack Parr said when, after 3 weeks, he returned with the greatest ratings of Tonight Show history until Johnny Carson retired.
Here's Jack! As I was saying before I was interrupted.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. And here's Jimmy Kimmel copying his words last night.
Thank you. Anyway, as I was saying before I was interrupted.
You're a pimple on Jack Parr's butt. Yeah, I said it. You're a pimple on Jack Parr's butt. Unbelievable. Here's Gavin Newsom. I believe he was on last night with Stephen Colbert. Listen to what he had to say about Donald Trump.
This guy is flooding the zone. He's dominating the narratives. Facts don't seem to matter. And Democrats, frankly, have had a difficult time pushing back. And
You have ruined California. You've lost $130 billion on light rail that never happened, and $30 billion on homeless that was spent on NGOs that just basically squandered the money. Now you got the highest homeless in history. Here, listen to the end of this. Hold on one second, because this is again bringing up the rhetoric
from leadership, moral authority around the rest of the world. California's trying to assert itself on health policy. Same thing. We created this West Coast collaborative. We're not going to listen to this guy. We're not going to listen to him trying to pronounce acetaminophen, or we're not going to sit there, listen to all that.
He called Donald Trump an SOB last night. I'm done with this nonsense. We have got Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer to talk about Donald Trump and Ukraine and Russia on the other side of this break. This is the Rob Carson Show.
I won't mask, don't ask me. I won't mask, don't ask me. I won't mask aboard a plane. And I won't wear one in a car or a train. Mandate, not needed. Freedoms, we've ceded. And now Joe, he wants it back. A new mask mandate is his latest attack. Joe wants you to mask when you are flying. The rationale for this nobody's buying. Claiming it's essential, simply lying. Yeah, it's appalling. It's like Joe Stalin. that's why I won't mask. Can't make me to jail. You can't take me, I won't mask for you again. The flight attendants, they can casually ask. But when I'm flying on a plane, I won't mask. Tim Walz is a lefty who's ruined his state. Now he wants our children to self-mutilate. His policies are disgusting and lewd. And now he says schools have to include tampons in the boys' room. Tampons in the boys' room. Tim Walz and Kamala, a couple of fools. And everybody knows that liberals want to ruin schools. Tim allowed his cities to be burned by BLM. Criminals, illegals, they can count on Tim. His uniform, Tim was disgraced. He really crossed the line the moment that he placed tampons in the boys' room. Tampons in the boys' room. Tim Walz is a commie. Kamala is too. And everyone should know the damage that these two could do. Trump and Elon, Trump and Elon. On each other's neck they have their heel on. Wish that they would make up. How I hate to see them break up. Try to understand it. So much confusion. Does this mean their partnership has come to a conclusion? Trump and Musk, they've been feuding from the dawn till dusk. Wish this could be mended. I'd hate to see, don't want to see. I'd hate to see their friendship ended.
Of a good future.
It is.
We'll back it.
I think so. They're very enthusiastic in a lot of ways. It's been a terrible war. It should have ended, and Russia should have stopped it. But they've been 3.5 years and they've gotten not so far. So we'll see what happens. But the other side can fight too, and they've proven that. Maybe it could be that Russia's a paper tiger. I don't know what they are, but 3.5 years of fighting and killing everybody, of killing 7,000 people a week for nothing, So it's a very sad situation, but most of you have seen the recent statement I put out a little while ago, and I'm glad you got it. But I feel that way. I really do feel that way. Let them get their land back.
Yep.
So we'll see how it all works out. And in the meantime, I hear France is doing well, and you're doing well. And he's been my friend, and we've gotten along on just about every subject there is to get along with.
Now, that is Donald Trump yesterday basically saying that Ukraine should get all of its land back. He also went and said that NATO should be able to shoot down Russian planes. Wow. That was kind of earth-shattering, and the first person I thought of was Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer on this one. I reached out yesterday. He's kind enough to find time in his schedule to join us today. Colonel, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
It's always great to join you. Thank you for having me.
Putin must have really pissed off Trump, brother.
Yeah, Rob, he did. And I think it's to the point of frustration of where he's basically threatened with a great deal of understanding the vulnerabilities of Putin. And this is where I think President Trump was hanging back because he didn't really want to tell the truth about the Europeans funding the war, but he had to.
Yeah.
So this is a grand irony. It's like I think he was trying to get Putin to agree to something without having to basically let the cat out of the bag that the Europeans are funding Vladimir Putin. Just saying, because that came out during the speech. We kind of heard him talk about it. But man, oh man, Rob, right on the world stage, basically telling the Europeans, you're part of the problem.
Oh,
you
brother.
You're a closet Vladimir Putin supporter.
Didn't you love that speech? Brother, I talked to Blaine Holt yesterday in real time as the dang speeches happened. Blaine Holt's there, and he is just laughing out loud because he gave them what for we've never seen. We've never seen an American president give this awful world order what for. And then, by the way, he wasn't talking to those people. He was talking to the people of those countries that have to endure their bullcrap.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So he is leading a global effort to bring MAGA, make America great again. Well, really kind of make Poland great again, make Yugoslavia great again, make every country on the planet great again by recognizing that there is a global order that you and I've talked about a lot, this World Economic Forum, Agenda 2020 or 2030, whatever agenda it is, and he's calling them out because all it does is create misery for the people of these countries. And I think it's time for them to rise up and recognize that these political leaders, these climate crisis Nazis, these people who are trying to tell you that somehow gas is bad and green energy is good, all this stuff, it's all a fiction. And by the way, he called out this whole new Green Deal to the face. He called it out to the face of the guy that runs the United Nations. It was brilliant.
It was fantastic. I was reading this piece by Niall Gardner. End open borders, stop importing criminals, defend your sovereignty, fight Islamist extremism, stand up for Christianity, end vastly expensive net zero climate policies, or your countries are going to hell. Oh my God, that was an earthquake, man. That was an earthquake.
And I think, well, he's going to follow it up now, I think, with policies which match the rhetoric, which is what they're really worried about. I mean, it's one thing, Rob, I think you and I would agree, for a politician to stand up. I was in a meeting today here locally, and a political meeting, you got to do political stuff. But in the end, what's important is, your rhetoric follows through. My rhetoric, just for those who vote for me, my rhetoric follows through with my action, my policy, just saying.
Yes.
So Trump's going to do the same thing. And I think that's what they're most afraid of. It's like, no. This isn't just about Trump calling him out. Now, over the next 3 years, Rob, he's going to be implementing policies which match his rhetoric, and that's what they're really worried about.
Well, I wrote you this morning. I sent you a thought that I had about I think we avoided the rapture with Donald Trump's election. I'm not saying it was just Donald Trump as this holy figure. I'm just saying that, to survive another 250 years, we needed a baptism by fire. We needed to expose all of the evil in our government. And then Donald Trump, they tried to murder him, and he raised his hands to heaven. And I think God saved his life. I do.
Oh, no doubt.
I do. And I said that there would be a worldwide movement toward freedom and God. And then Charlie Kirk's assassination, martyrdom, accelerated that to the speed of light. And I really think that this is kind of a rapture for the left. They're going to be left behind, and we're going to be leading the world toward enlightenment and freedom.
Well, so let's talk about that for 1 second, because of course there was this horrific shooting in Dallas of the ICE facility. No ICE agents were but the first thing the Democrats do, Chuck Schumer, Chuck Schumer gets up there and says, I don't know why they did this, but it's the guns. Like, no,
brother.
It's Gavin Newsom. It's him. It's the other Democrats who are now constantly inciting violence. Like Gavin Newsom was just on, I think, with that knucklehead Kimmel last night, talking about one of the late night shows, talking about how we need to strike out against those who are quote unquote kidnapping people. Well, we're not kidnapping people. They're taking people who have broken the law off the street and turning them to the country. So the whole the mislabeling is creating the conditions for the violence.
Here, listen to this.
Yeah.
People are terrified for their lives and for their neighbors. Folks getting snatched off the street by secret police who are wearing masks, who can offer no justification for why certain people are being taken and then detained.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people.
Yeah, and then also this.
They are disappearing people.
One has to assume they're hiding something, or they're hiding misbehavior, because otherwise, why would they be wearing masks and denying their identities?
If everything is legitimate and proper, why are you wearing masks?
They called them Gestapo. Not Hillary, but Kamala Harris called them Gestapo when she was a senator. When she was vice president. And this has resulted in blood. This has resulted in the same words that Democrats used on the shell casings of the shooter in Minneapolis, of those little precious babies, of Charlie Kirk, and now of the ICE, the attempted assassination, I presume, of ICE agents, but the killings in Dallas targeting ICE. Go ahead.
And so Chuck Schumer was out screaming about this. Oh, it's about the guns. No. Look, let me go on record here to be the first to call for this, hopefully become a nationwide movement, Rob, that you'll lead. We don't need common sense gun control. We need common sense Democrat control.
Yep.
How would that look? Can we deport Democrats to, say, I don't know, Cuba?
But Tony, on a serious note, there are limits. There are limits to the First Amendment, and these sons of bees need to be removed from any committee and even driven out of Congress. Even driven out of Congress. This is criminal behavior. This is a crying fire in a crowded theater times 10, because they're putting the damn words they say on shell casings. They went after Elon Musk. They called him a fascist and a Nazi. And the jackbooted thugs that the Democrat Party has whipped into a frenzy intentionally are acting out. They did it in the summer of 2020. They did it the day that Donald Trump was inaugurated the first time. And enough is enough. It has to stop. Tony, can you hold on? I want to get a little more into the what's happening with Russia and Ukraine and Trump and what Donald Trump started yesterday. If you'll hold on, please. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer on the Rob Carson Show. We'll take a break and come back. Don't go anywhere. Here we go.
The primary effect of these brutal green energy policies has not been to help the environment, but to redistribute manufacturing and industrial activity from developed countries that follow the insane rules that are put down to polluting countries that break the rules and are making a fortune. They're making a fortune.
Yeah, he really shredded the people who have run roughshod over the world with their nonsense of restricted free speech, have forced this green energy crap down our throat. Oh my God, it was so glorious. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, I'm still just I talked to Blaine Hole yesterday. I said I'm gonna pop some popcorn. I'm gonna watch this speech, and I did it. I did it last night, man. It was epic. It was just fun.
Yeah, no, so I want to hit this, and I think your audience may remember. I've got a actual degree from Wright State University in Dayton, Ohio, in environmental studies. And so I've said for years that, first off, the green climate movement doesn't understand climate. They're constantly overreacting to what is essentially weather. To understand climate, Rob, you have to study 10 to 11,000 year blocks of time.
Yes.
We haven't even had, we don't have that much data.
No.
So, but we kind of know so we're right now getting ready. We're heading back into a net cooling phase because, surprise, surprise, the biggest contributor to global warming is the sun. The sun.
Imagine that. Is that what that big? Is that big shiny thing in the sky? Is that big shiny thing? Oh my! It's just always been ridiculous. It's always,
I know, but one of the things I want to make a point of is that fossil fuel is the most effective, the most amazing thing that God gave us to run our civilization.
Yes, and it is a gift from God. It is a gift from God. It's organic, for God's sake.
It's renewable. And by the way, it renews. The earth builds it. So the only renewable source of energy actually is fossil fuels. That's it. All this, I live in Chihuahua County. We have the tallest wind turbines in the country.
Yes.
Bar none. And they do nothing. They will never generate the power that they've been promised. They've been heavily subsidized by the state of North Carolina and federal government. And, oh, by the way, we're supposed to get money out of it as federal officials. As county officials. We're never going to see it.
Yeah.
Because they literally lied every step of the way to get these things implemented. And so thank God for President Trump calling out the whole sham.
You know what I call those windmills? Bird salad shooters.
Yeah,
they're bird salad shooters, and they kill whales, and they drive the undersea life like whales insane by pounding their ears and their ability to recognize sonar, and driving them insane, and driving them on and killing them. It's absolutely awful. It's absolutely awful. All you Whole Foods shoppers ought to appreciate that fossil fuel is organic. All right, they might even be vegan for all we know, so you ought to like that. Back to Donald Trump and talking about the Russia and Ukraine. He said that NATO should be able to shoot down Russian planes. Now, obviously he's pissed because Putin, met him, shook his hand, all that, and then stabbed Trump in the back by, resuming all these strikes. In fact, he upping the ante and all of that. Donald Trump wanted to trust him, and he betrayed his trust. He has also said that Russia is a paper tiger. I believe that too, a dangerous paper tiger. But where are we going to go with this? What's going to happen now?
So President Trump has learned a lesson, which I've talked about a lot, which basically the Russians' position on everything is what's ours is ours, and what's yours is negotiable. Yep. Just saying, it's consistent. Yep. It goes back. I've been mentored by the best, the Reagan folks. So I think President Trump learned the hard way. This is the way the Russians are, period. So you got to understand that. Now he does. So now he's going to go hard back at him. He's got to do the Reagan stuff to basically intimidate the Russians to the point of where they collapse from within. That's what he's doing.
Yep.
That's what should have been done 3 years ago. And finally, we got a guy who understands how to do it, and that's what he's going to do.
Brother, I told my audience, I said that you're not going to be able to recognize the profundity of Donald Trump's election for years. And, man, I'm look at what's coming at us, man. It's like flying through a locust swarm. My God, in your windshield, you can't even see because all of this stuff is coming this way, and you go, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, this is happening. It's happening, Tony. This is amazing.
So, one of my colleagues said, "Oh, this is creating chaos." Like, yes, Yes, it is, and it's beautiful.
Well, dude, when I was in high school, I remember Ronald Reagan, he was joking around. There was a mic wasn't on. He goes, testing 1, 2, 3, we'll begin bombing the Russia or the Soviet Union in minutes or whatever. And everybody was freaking out, just freaking out. And I was a little concerned because I was just an uninformed high school student who never voted before. But it turns out that was off mic. But Ronald Reagan, he and Pope JP and Margaret Thatcher and Lech Walesa brought down the Soviet Union with words and by outspending in defense and a few other things. Go ahead.
Exactly. Well, see, he's gone back to strength. Strength is what we need to show.
Yes.
The Department of War, that's a purposeful name change,
Yeah.
You've got to show strength, and you dare not show weakness, period. You just dare not show weakness, and he gets it. So Reagan was like that, too. So basically, he's taken the best of Reagan. I'm still a Reagan guy, don't get me wrong.
I know.
And he's taken the best of Reagan and modernizing it to the 21st century.
Yeah, but
he's a brilliant man, and that's what he's doing.
He is, listen, you're not supposed to blaspheme Ronald Reagan. I am not. But I'm going to tell you, compared to Reagan, Trump is taken Reagan and multiplied it by 100.
I agree. I agree. And I'm still friends and mentors with a lot of his cabinet. No, I get it.
Hey, Reagan was ballsy for his time. It was a different time, and you had parties that could talk to each other. Donald Trump has undergone constant attacks, trying to put him in prison, trying to take him off the ballot, trying to bankrupt him. All of that. And now, I got to tell you, this Charlie Kirk and this shooting in Dallas, I think, brother, this is it for the Democrat Party. And I think that people are going to start streaming away from the Democrat Party, maybe not going Republican, but they better get off this ship because this is the ship of evil. This is the ship of darkness, and you don't want to be on board.
No, John Fetterman is as close as they have to Tip O'Neill. And he's been the one also calling them out on the very thing you just said, that our party, that is their party, not our party, but our party, speaking as John Fetterman, is on the direction that will see its ruin, and he's right. So they need to figure out how to fix it before it gets worse.
We got to run, bro. But I appreciate you finding the time today. I had so many comments. I had so many comments on the chat on all of the social media. Tony, we listen to Tony. We love Tony when you always have to stop and listen to what he says on these things. So thanks for taking the time for us, bro.
Thank you, Rob. Yep. Always love you. Love you, brother.
God bless you, bro. Take care of yourself. Let's do a break. This is the Rob Carson Show. Wow, that's good stuff. Isn't this fun? We're witnessing history every day. You need to enjoy it. And they're trying to ruin it. The left is trying to ruin it. I told you they're dying like movie vampires. Dragging, kicking and screaming, trying to drag us into hell with them. And we're not going. Are you going? I ain't going to hell with them. F them. Let them go to hell. We're not going to hell. This is there's something happening, man. I'm going to tell you, there's something happening. And I said that the Democrat Party is going to have to reinvent itself or disappear into the dustbin of history. They're leaning into the dustbin, but even worse than that, they're leaning into hell. They are leaning into hell. All righty, let's see what we got here on the chatty-roo here. Robert Lawson, Google to reinstate banned accounts. Yeah, I know. I'm going to do that next hour, actually. I'm going to do that next hour. And I might even read my Substack. I got a Substack piece under Rob Carson Show that is entitled, hold on, let me find it. Are you ready for this? It's pretty big. Gosh darn it. Go. Yeah. There you go, right there. I want payback for America's Stalinistic censorship. I don't want apologies. I want people to pay with their fortunes and freedom. I do. Hell yeah. Hells to the yeah. All righty. We'll go over here on the Rumbly Roo. Beck Ottenberry. Becky, good to see you. Truth be told, too, I would call today, but I'm driving. Today is my oldest of 3 children's birthdays. Well, happy birthday. What's your kid's name? I'm happy. Happy birthday. Put the name right there. I'll say happy birthday to him on the air. You don't need to put last name. You can put first name. Okay? So, yeah, put that on there. If you got a birthday for a kid. How old, by the way? It's awesome. My birthday's coming up in October. It's a big one. It's one of those, 40, 50, that one. And you know what? I got to tell you, that's always been an old birthday for me. I don't feel old. Don't be alone. Don't be alone.
Gonna have 3 minutes.
I think we need to hear this piece of comedy that Jim Gossett did for us today, because Donald Trump went into the United Nations yesterday and created a firestorm for good. And Jim Gossett took the president's voice and did this, and you'll only hear it on the Rob Carson Show.
The escalator broke. The prompter stopped before I spoke. The UN had it in for me. But they were too blind to see.
And he kicked some butt.
At the UN, I was on fire. Letting Europe have it was my desire.
And he did.
They could not stop me. I was on fire.
Yeah.
Was so on fire.
Jim Gossett.
The United Nations received my ire. Of their games I'd begun to tire. So I shook things up.
Yeah, he did.
I was on fire.
He was.
Was so on fire.
Kick butt.
Was so on fire.
America is back. This is Caroline Levitt talking about the crowd to see Donald Trump.
The room was absolutely packed to the walls. Every single leader showed up for President Trump's speech today, and they heard him loud and clear. Woo! And I am proud to work for President Trump every day, Jesse, but I was especially proud watching the President of the United States of America bring common sense to an organization that has made no sense for far too long. And the President gave some tough love. He said, you are all destroying your own countries. And the United States of America was just being destroyed by one of your own. He took one of your own, a globalist in Joe Biden, who had no idea what he was doing. The president took a sledgehammer to the failing globalist world order. He talked about how all of these countries need to have pride in themselves like we do here in the United States of America. They should be proud of their own heritage and culture. How do you make sure that you are a sovereign state, not just being a decaying nation state because of the globalist world order? You have strong borders and a robust domestic energy production and law and order within your own country. Those are all things the president is obviously doing here.
Wow, that is amazing. You're witnessing history, guys. I said that. By the way, truth be told, on Rumble, his daughter's having a birthday. Her name is Mary. She's 48. Man, you must have started early there, truth be told. Last hour of the Rob Carson Show, including YouTube backing off censorship. But I'm not so forgiving. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
thought-provoking and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 3 of the show. We are not only streaming, or actually on radio stations around the country, hopefully adding some, we'll see, including KSCO in Santa Cruz, California, KBQ in Albuquerque, Benny Media, 4 radio stations in New Hampshire. Yeah, baby. Hi, New Hampshire. How you doing? I'm going to try and get up there. I'm working on trying to get up there. Hang out with Jack Heath, the voice of New Hampshire. He is. And, he's also a brilliant commentator as well. The guy. Wow. Unbelievable. WCBM in Balmer, that is our anchor station. WGMD in Rehoboth. I'm going to be out there for the Wings and Wheels event. It's not in Rehoboth, by the way. It's not in Rehoboth, but it's coming up here. And this is my kind of deal because it's like cars and classic airplanes. So it's a Friday night party is October the 3rd from 6 to 9. Main event Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'm going to be there from 10 to 2 broadcasting. And it's at the airport, and it's like 15 miles from Rehoboth. That's what I know. I have not been to the airport yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Going to be live bands out there and all sorts of stuff. I'll just post this right now on my social media. How about that? I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to go right over Twitter. Going right over Twitter, my profile. I'm going to just post it right there, right now. Here we go. Right there. And there it is. Boom. I just put it up on my Twitter. So if you want to come and visit me, I know many of you do because like 350 of you came out and paid money to see me broadcast live when we did a big inaugural event. So it was pretty cool. And you guys in Balmer, if you want to head down, we'll go get some Grotto pizza afterwards. How's that sound? I'm going to get some Grotto pizza. Oh, there's going to be a big Grotto's pizza on my table right in front of me. Then I'm going to get some Thrasher's fries. Who's with me? I'm eating salad today. I'm trying to be healthy and everything because I got a big birthday coming up. And as though it's possible for me to look sexier, it is. I'm working on it. But I'm going to eat Grotto pizza, and I'm going to have Thrasher's fries. Look at my social media. Rob Carson Show on everything. And by the way, we're also streaming now not only on Facebook or on Newsmax Rumble, Newsmax Facebook, Newsmax X, Newsmax Instagram, Newsmax YouTube. That's where we are. And it's blowing up. It's becoming gigantic. It's just amazing. It's like they put Viagra on my show on Viagra. Boing. There you go. We're reaching more people. That was the best analogy. I'm just in a good mood today, despite all the bullcrap from the left and the nonsense. And, now we've got another shooting in Dallas where they inscribed the words, the talking points of the left on shell casings as they attacked an ICE facility because ICE attacks have gone up 1,000% because the Democrats have been calling ICE Gestapo and Nazis. Here's MSNBC trying to blame it on right-wingers. You SOBs, I swear to God, you're in for such an ass kicking. And I'm not talking about from me personally. I'm not talking about from you. I'm talking about from karma and hopefully the DOJ and the FBI.
The writing, the first time we really saw that was Brenton Tarrant in the Christchurch shooting in a mosque in New Zealand.
No. It's anti-ICE, which is what the Democrats have been saying. Charlie Kirk, the bullet that killed him, it said, "Here, fascist, catch." So honestly, who are you? Who is this moron on here on MSNBC? I don't even know who it is. But this is what they're trying to do again, and they're always proving wrong. They're always proving it wrong because they're freaking evil. The Democrat Party is evil. And honestly, here's another one. This is on the CNN this morning, of course. And they're going to follow. This is CNN Chief Intelligence Analyst John Miller saying it was a far-right person targeting the illegal aliens.
Well, it's very fluid, and as
like what's between your ears?
Ramsey pointed out, they are sorting through who is this gunman, what is the identity, what is the background, what are the messages connected with this shooting, and that is something we may learn in the course of the press.
No, actually, Cash Patel already said they were anti-ICE messages scrawled on the shell casings. So there's that. And then, of course, Chuck Schumer, who, I mean, he's wearing the glasses. He looks like the warden from Shawshank Redemption. He says that, we don't know if it's from right or left or whatever, but we know we need gun control. Honestly, shut up. You're not going to get it. Because, you see, the First Amendment isn't for turkey hunting and target practice. It's because we just kicked England's ass, and we did it with citizen soldiers. And so when they wrote the First Amendment, they said, hey, let's not have if we have to kick England's ass again, then maybe we need to keep these guns. Yeah, that's what it's from. It's from defending ourselves from a regime like Joe Biden or like Kamala Harris would have done to us. Didn't work out so well for her, did it? Because she's so stupid. Anyway. This is interesting. Kristi Noem. All right, so, Gavin Newsom is running for president. He has no qualifications for president. He's a terrible governor. He's made California a much worse place to live. He's wasted $100 million on high-speed rail that's not happened at all. He has wasted $40 billion on homelessness. Homelessness has only gotten worse. He dined at the French Laundry while he made people basically shut down their businesses. He's an awful human being. Here he is last night on late night television. This after Charlie Kirk's murder, where they a leftist scribed anti-fascist on the shell casings, and before the shooter in Dallas shot an ICE facility, saying that they were anti-ICE. Here's Gavin Newsom last night.
This guy is flooding the zone. He's dominating the narratives. Facts don't seem to matter. And Democrats, frankly, have had a difficult time pushing back. And Democrats feel that, times there's sort of this weakness that dominates our brand and our party. And I think
you are weak. You couldn't even make a fist.
I think what people appreciate is that we're willing to fight. And not
I'm sure you like it when other people do, though.
Not only fight symbolically by having a little bit fun, but fight substantively. We have 41 lawsuits against this son of a bitch. We're pushing back. And
there you go. Keep talking like that, sunshine. Keep talking like that, sunshine. Kristi Noem reacts to a chilling tweet from Newsom's press office threatening her. She said, it immediately panicked my friends. On Gavin Newsom's press office Twitter, Kristi Noem is going to have a bad day today. You're welcome, America. Y'all about done with this? She's the DHS secretary, by the way. I wouldn't bleep with her, to be quite honest, but here she is.
It was cryptic, and it was really menacing. I would say, Sean, it immediately panicked my family and friends. Within, I would say, a couple of minutes of that being posted, I started to get text messages and phone calls, family, my kids saying, are you okay, Mom? Are you fine? They know the threats that I've had. They know the threats that they've had, the things that have happened to them because of politicians like this that say things and somebody grabs onto them that has an agenda, the cartels and criminals that have threatened our family already. So when you get a post like that by a governor, immediately, my staff and family think, what is going on? What does he mean? And we're trying to figure it out. So, this is a day and age where we've always known that words matter, but there's been real consequences that we have realized that have happened to incredible people like Charlie that we'll have to live with forever. And I hope we all learn from that. I hope we all learn that it's time to start listening to each other, having civil discourse, and stop ridiculous, irresponsible posts like Governor Newsom.
Yeah, and when they happen, we have to use the farce of law enforcement to go after it, because this is not protected speech. Kristi Noem's going to have a bad day. Trish McLaughlin, Assistant Secretary, DHS, blasted Newsom's team for crossing a line into dangerous rhetoric. This read like a threat. This is ugly. Your keyboard warrior team may hide behind your laptops and spew this kind of vitriol, but you would have never, ever have the guts to say it to her face. Well, of course not. Veneers would never say that, honestly. Keith Olbermann, who he's an addict. He when you're an addict, you recognize that what you're addicted to is killing you, and you keep consuming it. In Keith Olbermann's case, it's hate speech and violent speech against Republicans. It's unhinged. He's no longer employable. He had a show that was almost watchable. I never watched sports television. I don't have time for it. Nothing against it. If you like it, that's cool. You want to watch Stephen A. Smith, that's cool. I don't have time for it. you got to choose your lane. It's going to be politics, comedy, or sports. Can't do both. Rush Limbaugh could do both. I couldn't do both. I can't keep up with the stats. I don't do fantasy football. Even if I did do fantasy football, it'd be like a bunch of supermodels. I'd have, Elle McPherson. Not Elle McPherson. I update my files, but Beyonce would be my quarterback. It would be a completely different kind of fantasy football. It would be probably something you wouldn't want to share online. But anyway, you got to choose your lane. Keith Olbermann, he mouthed off and he threatened Scott, help me out here, Brian. Scott on help me out, Brian. Scott on CNN. Scott Jennings had a brain fart. See, I told you I can't. I started thinking about Beyonce and a jockstrap or something. Anyway, but Scott Jennings, he attacked Scott Jennings, right? Attacked Scott Jennings, and now he said basically, you're next, Jennings. And Scott Jennings reported him to Kash Patel, and now Keith Olbermann is whining on social media. I didn't mean to say it. But he's an addict. He can't stop it. It's killed his career. It's causing him to become this dark, evil person. But he can't seem to give it up. Can't seem to give it up. And that's why Jim Gossett wrote this about Keith Olbermann.
Olbermann, Keith Olbermann, totally unhinged Olbermann. Against Scott Jennings, made a threat. Time in jail, Keith should get indict and convict Olbermann.
I like this.
Olbermann, Keith Olbermann. Of Donald Trump, he's not a fan. With a case of TDS, is he a nut? The answer's yes, insane. That is Keith Olbermann.
Oh, that is fantastic.
He's been fired from every job he ever had.
Loser.
That's cause Keith Olbermann is incredibly bad. Olbermann, he's a clown. His podcast, they should take it down. From social media, should be banned. No telling what he has planned. Look out!
Look out! Nice.
More threats from Olbermann.
Oh my God! That is Jim Gossett. That is Jim Gossett. Oh my God, that is so brilliant. That's the second parody he did today. Unhinged Keith Olbermann admits was especially wrong over deleted threats to conservative CNN pundit Scott Jennings. Jim Gossett, patreon.com/Jim Gossett Comedy, $10 a month. Help him out. He's amazing. And you'll get 2 parodies sent to your mailbox every single day. When you share them, just say you heard it on the Rob Carson Show. Wow, just wow. And you're only going to hear it right here on the Rob Carson Show. Let's take a break and come back. Don't go anywhere. You paying attention, Ryan?
Trouble, shifts in trouble. His situation's looking very bleak. A lawyer pencil neck will need to seek. He'll be punished for his unlawful leak. Prison, throw Schiff in prison. Lately he's been on a losing streak. It looks like Pencil Neck is up a creek when they nail him for his unlawful leak. Expulsion, should face expulsion. Call a vote and kick him out this week. And no longer will you have to hear him speak. No one's gonna miss him. It's time to dismiss him. Pencil neck is guilty of that lead. He wants a new map. He's full of crap. California says screw you, Gavin. His plan is to steal. It's a dirty deal. If you do, you'll be through. It's true, Gavin. He wants to flip the house 'cause he's a louse with greasy hair. Gavin Newsom's hated almost everywhere. He's no match for Trump 'cause he is a chump. Somebody should sue you, Gavin. He has no class like Karen Bass. They should step down. Approval sinks. California thinks he is a clown. Newsom's a joke. The state's going broke. They're finished with you. It's true, Gavin.
A little biggie for you. Some of the, not really old school. It's like from the early 2000s. The old school was Run DMC and Curtis Blow and all that. I listened to that when I was in college. Anyway, so here's the big news. Here's the big news. There is nothing, there was no greater affront to the First Amendment than what Joe Biden and his lousy, stinking, filthy, corrupt, Stalinist Maoists did to us and our freedom of speech and our freedom to worship. And people should go to jail or face a firing squad for it. Yeah, I said it. Hell yeah. What they did to it was ridiculous. Google has admitted to Congress the Biden administration pressed YouTube to censor COVID misinformation. They censored every damned thing. Everything from authorities on January the 6th to the election of 2020, which was not a free election, a fair election at all. It was completely rigged. And if you don't believe that, you're an idiot. There you go. I think I should wear a mask, a paper mask, to prevent the deadly virus. Oh, I should stand 6 feet from people. That will stop the deadly virus. Shut up. Google admitted Joe Biden's administration pressed the tech giant and YouTube to censor content the administration felt was COVID-19 misinformation. Now YouTube and Google are calling for conservative voices to rejoin if they were booted for violating now scrapped rules. You know why? Because they're about to break up Google. And as far as I'm concerned, they can break up and go to hell. Company attorney Daniel Donovan shared this jarring admission on Tuesday while speaking with the House Judiciary Committee later in a letter to Jim Jordan. Donovan wrote, the Biden administration created a political atmosphere that sought to influence the action of platforms based on their concerns regarding misinformation. You're wrong. They started it before Joe Biden was the president. I was on 29 pages on Facebook with conservative content producers, the birth of podcasting. On October 31st, 2018, 830 conservative pages were taken off of Facebook. Don't believe me about that? How about Brandon Straka's look away movement, the walk away movement? 500,000 people, mostly people of color, leaving the Democrat Party. Facebook got rid of them. Bullcrap. It wasn't the Biden administration. You gobbled it up, and so did the mainstream media. Senior Biden administration officials, including White House officials, conducted repeated and sustained outreach to Alphabet, pressed the company regarding certain user-generated content related to COVID-19, did not violate its policies. While the company continued to develop and enforce its policies independently, Biden administration officials continued to press the company to remove them. They removed Steve Bannon. They removed Dan Bongino. They removed Donald Trump on January the 6th when he put out a peaceful message saying go home. They didn't put it up. They gobbled it up. They did the bidding because they loved the bidding. Give me a break. You're only afraid because you're about to be blown up. Google is about to go bye-bye. It's about to be broken up because you've also completely directed searches away from real corruption like Hillary Clinton. Like the Clinton Foundation. You won't even see that show up on Google because you know what? Google is like the Soviet Union censoring your incoming mail to its citizens. That's Google. That's why they had to come up with DuckDuckGo. That's why they had to come up with Bing. Because Google did it before Biden was the president. Give me a frickin' break. Oh, you people. I am not forgiving on this. The day after the election, 2020, my Facebook page that was growing dramatically for my listeners disappeared before I could make a post without any reasoning and without any choice of repercussions at all or being able to actually address it, maybe get my page back. Then, a couple of years later, it suddenly showed up again. One day. I put one post, they completely deleted the page. They demonetized my YouTube when I posted a truthful video by RFK Jr., who they also banned from being on. They destroyed the careers of people like Marty McCurry, Robert Malone. Why do I know those names? Because they were censored during COVID. Then they told you couldn't go to church. This isn't just about YouTube. This is about they're afraid, and they should be afraid. They should be really, really afraid. And I got to tell you, I'm not in a forgiving mood. I'm not in a forgiving mood about this. I'm not in a forgiving mood about calling Donald Trump supporters fascists and Hitler. I'm not in a forgiving mood since Charlie Kirk was assassinated and your words did it. Your words caused Tesla dealerships to burn. Your words caused the summer of 2020. I am not in a mood to mess with any of this. I want payback. I want justice. I want retribution. Yeah, I call it retribution. Hell yeah. Retribution, I believe, was mentioned in the Bible. I wrote a piece on Substack. It's called I Want Payback for America's Stalinistic Censorship. I don't want apologies. I want people to pay with their fortunes and their freedom. I'm showing it to the webcam right now. Go to Substack, Rob Carson Show. And those ghosts still haunt us. You can't say anything about the COVID vaccine. You still can't say anything about the Jan 6ers. You still can't say anything about the election of 2020 without somebody saying, oh, I don't know. It was all a lie. I said, when they call what you believe disinformation and misinformation, it means they know you know the truth. And I said that in 2020, and I'm saying it now. Substack, Rob Carson Show. Let's take a break and come back. Again, this is the Rob Carson Show.
People say it's a major eyesore, but you can bet I won't forget who my library's for. It's all about me. It's all about me. My massive ego makes me who I am. Folks are afraid that they'll be displaced, afraid the places they live will soon be erased. It's all about me. It's all about me. A self-absorbed man, I'm my own biggest fan. It's all about me. It's all about me.
3,500 arrests ICE has made so far. How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals.
She's no KJP. More like Kaylee and Sarah. Her first press briefing was strong. She deals in facts, not liberal propaganda. We have been lied to for so long. And raise your hand. Be polite, or she won't call on you. Meet Caroline, kicking butt and taking names. She's not inclined to let reporters play their games. Sweet Caroline.
Oh, young people are on TikTok, so they're being influenced by China. Young people are also part of campus groups that are being funded by people like George Soros. We know that he spent at least $15 million into pro-Hamas campus groups. And look, Maria, my generation has a big problem. My generation sees bloodshed as legitimate political activism, but it doesn't shock me because I'm seeing what professors are saying in the classrooms. Left-wing educators are celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder online. I reported at Campus Reform that a UPenn professor said that Charlie Kirk was the head of Trump's Hitler Youth. I also reported that an Ohio State University Medical Center respiratory therapist said that Charlie Kirk was a waste of oxygen and that maybe he'll be worth something to the vultures. That's the rhetoric going on in our college classroom.
Yep. Emily Sturge, Campus Reform, is joining us on the Newsmax hotline. That's her right now talking about the things that have happened since Charlie Kirk's martyrdom and assassination. I like to say that the left exposes its flank so we can kick its ass. They've done it again, except for this time they've kicked a hornet's nest that is sparking it's actually energizing a worldwide movement toward freedom and faith. Emily, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for finding the time for us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I got to tell you, Emily, I've never wept so much for someone I didn't know than Charlie Kirk. And I wept not only for his life and his family, but for what he had yet to do. But look what his passing has done. If you could put into words what the last 2 weeks have been like for you, for like Campus Reform, I would appreciate it.
I don't think most people in this country have wept so much for somebody that they didn't know. I had the privilege.
Turn your mic down a little.
For countless times. I was a young conservative. I've been going to his convention since I was 15 years old. And so many, thousands of students across the country had the same story of we grew up going to those conventions. We grew up watching his videos on social media. And so the majority of students right now are really mourning this loss. Meanwhile, we see leftists on campus actually celebrating and mocking the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We are seeing professors just post these vile and disgusting comments while students are mourning. And it's important to point out that Charlie Kirk was assassinated in front of thousands of students. There are students that are traumatized by this event. There are students that are mourning his loss, and yet the left feels empowered. Students and professors both feel empowered to celebrate the assassination. It's very sad to see that that's where the left is at today.
Well, it's demonic. I mean, it really is, Emily. And listen, I've told my audience, I'm not a Bible banger. I don't quote scripture. There are very, very few scriptural pieces that I could even quote. But this is demonic when you have a school teacher dancing like a demon on social media, singing a song about how Charlie Kirk was murdered. I'm glad that they did this. I'm glad that they've exposed themselves because they were in academia. They were our doctors. They were our teachers. And I'm grateful that they showed such poor character that they would expose how awful and how dark their hearts are so we can recognize it.
And as professors, as educators are exposing themselves, they're exposing the root cause of why Gen Zers are comfortable with radical activism and with political violence. This explains it. It's because that's what's going on in our university classrooms. And within the past couple days, I've been reporting a news story. There's a leftist student group at the University of Washington, and this group planned a campus event where students were planning to set up dartboards with images of political figures and then shoot at those political figures on the dartboards with Nerf guns. So as the country is mourning the loss of Charlie Kirk, we have leftist students on campuses who want to take part in some target practice. It's disgusting and it's vile. And the University of Washington, they removed this event from their website, but we need to be asking the question of who approved this event in the first place?
Yes.
Why was the University of Washington comfortable posting this on their official university website? Students are so emboldened to promote this violence against political figures, and the campus just went ahead and published it on their website.
I know.
Playing off political violence as if it's some fun carnival game.
Well, this is not going to be an easy process. After October the 7th, the left covered up and tried to make us forget Israel's second Holocaust by using a faux hospital bombing, and it exposed the left on campuses. I didn't realize that anti-Semitism was so rampant on college campuses. It's like 1939 Germany. But we at least got a heads up. There were some people who were fired. There's some defunding that's taking place, and this is kind of the next step, right? As we try to reform higher education. It's not going to be an easy process, Emily.
Well, accountability is the bottom line here, and when I think back to we covered at Campus Reform the vile anti-Semitic protests that took place on campuses. Things obviously were out of hand on the Ivy League campuses. The administration there allowed the violence to run rampant to the point where students had to do their classes online. I was lucky enough during that time to be a student at the University of Florida, where law and order was upheld. Students who were assaulting those around them, students who were bringing violence to our campus, they were arrested. They were held accountable. There were consequences. And so students didn't feel emboldened to show that behavior once they saw their peers arrested. The same thing needs to happen as we see professors and students celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Once there's consequences, once students or professors are forced to take accountability, they're not going to feel as emboldened to show this disgusting behavior. I
spoke to you before, and I talked about how COVID backfired on the left. The left tried to completely indoctrinate Gen Z with, not only the nonsense, the leftist nonsense in class, but also making them wear masks, which only existed as a device for control and to broadcast fear. Separated all of you. My daughter missed her first half of her freshman year in high school, almost the entire second year, and then had to wear a stupid mask another year after that. But I think it backfired because Gen Z, at least a lot of Gen Zers, they came together with distance. They came together on the phone or whatever while they were separated intentionally by the people who wanted to brainwash them. It brought them together. So those people have come together. You can't do anything about the people who still believe that they can change genders, the mentally ill people who, particularly girls who the left, did the social contagion of gender nonsense to them and wrecked their lives and took advantage of their weakness. But I do believe that there's a strong move toward faith and connection in Gen Z that backfired on the left when they tried to destroy it during COVID.
You are absolutely correct. And I was in high school when COVID happened. Since then, I have seen my generation shift further and further to the right. The COVID lockdowns, the mask mandates, the vaccine mandates, what all of that exposed to my generation is how much power our government has over us. Yes. And so since that time, I've seen more and more young people embrace free thinking, embrace discussion and debate, especially on their campuses, in support of conservative values, in support of limited government because they saw just how much control our government had. I feel for your daughter missing out on school. Yeah. My age group, we didn't have prom. We didn't have homecoming. Nope. We missed out on our Friday night football games. We missed out on some of the best high school memories because of the left lockdowns. My generation is not forgetting that, and that's why so many of us have shifted further to the right.
Now, if you could hold on for the next break, I'd appreciate it, Emily. I want to talk to you about faith. I think there's a movement toward faith, and certainly was accelerated by Charlie Kirk's assassination. Also, some amazing news from the TPUSA front. Can you hold on for the next break, Emily?
Let's do it.
All right, Emily Sturge, Campus Reform, back in a minute on the Rob Carson Show.
Excited to announce today that every Oklahoma high school will have a Turning Point USA chapter. We have seen the outpouring from parents, teachers, and students that want to be engaged in the meaningful work going on at Turning Point. They want their young people to be engaged in a process that understands free speech, open engagement, dialogue about American greatness, a dialogue around American values. We're so excited to partner with Turning Point USA.
That is the superintendent of Oklahoma announcing every high school in the state will have a TPUSA chapter under a new partnership. Oh, my goodness. Emily Sturge, campus reform. What about that?
It's very exciting to hear because what those Turning Point chapters mean on both high school and college campuses, that means bringing back discussion and debate to campuses. Oh. And we know for many years free speech has been dead in our classrooms.
Yeah, the organization has received 32,000 inquiries in the last 48 hours to start new campus chapters. That was posted today. Andrew Colvett on Twitter. The TPUSA has 900 official college chapters and around 1,200 high school chapters, a presence of 3,500 total. That's going through the ceiling. This is pretty remarkable, Emily. Can you believe that this is happening? I mean, we hate that Charlie Kirk was murdered. We wish that we could turn back history. But what a turning point this is.
What a turning point this is.
I swear.
Yes, I can believe that this is happening because we know free speech, discussion, and debate was being silenced in our university classrooms by left-wing educators, so students are having to go somewhere else to find it. The only other place on their campus they can find it is Turning Point USA chapters. Look, we know professors for years have handed out failing grades to conservatives. Conservative students face verbal abuse from their peers, their professors. And so when Charlie Kirk came to these campuses, students would skip class and go stand out in a line in the middle of the day just to ask him a question. Students ultimately, especially those that interacted with Charlie Kirk when he came to their campuses, they ultimately learned more from an interaction with him about respectful dialogue and debate than they ever did in their university classrooms.
Well, fortunately, his speeches and his discussions are voluminous. I mean, if you really want to look for it, you're going to find thousands of hours of his material. I just wanted so much more. I mean, just listening to him talk about, I've never heard anyone, I don't care who it is, Billy Graham, whoever, who could debate religion, I should say, faith in general, the Bible. I've never seen anyone be able to defend faith and belief like Charlie Kirk. He was a genius beyond belief. He was here for a reason, Emily.
Oh, he absolutely was, and I really think that he lived out his mission. The most remarkable part was that he actually is a college dropout.
I know.
He was very vocal about the education system not training and preparing young minds for society and for the workplace. And he was living proof that if you know classic American history, literature. I mean, he clearly studied. He knew his stuff. He didn't need a leftist professor to teach him.
Wow.
I mean, he was a great example for students to look up to, especially when it's a time when American civics education is just not doing well. Math and reading scores are just in the tank, and students need positive figures like Charlie Kirk to show that you can be a self-made genius, for lack of a better word.
I'm very optimistic, though, Emily, about this turn toward good and faith and patriotism. I said it was going to happen when Donald Trump was elected because of all the tribulations that this government had put us through for 10 years, silencing us, going after Catholics, trying to kill Donald Trump, trying to put him in jail and all this. And to get to enlightenment, you have to go through tribulation. And I said that for our country to have another 250 years, there would have to be a baptism by fire. And that's what we've gone through. And it was going to happen, but Charlie's murder, his martyrdom, has put it into light speed. Do you feel that way, Emily?
Oh, absolutely. And I love how you bring in the rise in patriotism, because patriotism, faith, family values, conservatism, they all go hand in hand. And we've seen, as Gen Z has shifted further to the right over the past few years, we've seen spikes in Christianity, in Catholicism, in patriotism. Patriotism, for example, so many Gen Zers are joining ICE, joining the military. We've seen so many Gen Zers shift to Catholicism and to Christianity as a rejection of the leftism and wokeism throughout our society. Gen Z is looking for purpose, for order and tradition in society, which is why so many are shifting to the right.
I said this years ago, Emily, and I've got a 20-year-old and a 25-year-old, and I said years ago that they had already written off Gen Z, and I said, do not, because they're fighting back, and you guys, I think that the sky is the limit, and I'm glad you're a voice for it, Emily. I think you're an amazing person. I wish you continued success and continue being a voice, because you know what? Maybe one person can't fill Charlie Kirk's shoes. You can walk in his footsteps, and there will be more than enough people who can carry this message for as long as, forever. Emily, where can people find all of your work, by the way?
Well, thank you so much for having me. All of my work is at campusreform.org, and I'm at Real Emily Sturge on all social media platforms.
God bless you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. All righty. What do we got here? Trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about next. Pardon me. Oh, yes. I got something funny. Dookie Bear. Hello, my house has a tin roof. I'm going to need a nap. That makes me sleepy. Oh, you got a thunderstorm going on? I love it. I love a tin roof and rain, baby. Woo-wee woo. It's awesome. Let's see who we got here. Over on YouTube, where we've only been on for 2 days, Joe Hayatachi from Southwest Florida. How you doing? Sabrina G. Word. Good to see you. Merlin Wizard. Don't know who you are, but you sound pretty cool. The Axe One. Love your show, Rob. Thanks. Watch my TV show. It's even better. No, it's not better, but it's really darn good. Kendra Stewart. Frank Wrenchman. I like that name, Wrenchman. Come on, Wrenchman. If I were a wrenchman. Da-da-dee-da-da-da-dee-da-da-da-dee-da-do. Let's move on to the Twitter. Oh, my goodness. Look at the numbers on Twitter. Holy hell. Huge numbers on the Twitter on Newsmax. I can't see Instagram on Newsmax. We're on Instagram, Newsmax Live, too, so I'm sure we got a lot of really cool people checking it out over there. But it's pretty darn cool. I'm going to scroll down here, see how many people we got on here. Oh, it says there's 17,000. That's not bad. We need it to be millions. On the Facebook. Let's see here. Let's see. I got a little bitty window here, and I'm trying to read them because all these, little thumbs up. Robert Lawson, good to see you there. Carol Leftwich, all you guys. Hope you're enjoying the show today. It's been a really good show today. Whenever I say that, I mean, I don't think we have a bad show. We don't have a bad show. It's not within me to have a bad show. I don't have a bad show. I have shows that are not as good as I want them, but I don't have a bad show. That's what I'm doing here. White Christian is trending on Twitter. It's probably the left trying to rip on us. Oh, Hillary Clinton. Harpy from hell. Here we go.
3:45 here.
So Kamala Harris is pushing a book, even though I don't think she knows how to read. And guess what? She's not gaining in popularity. Here's Harry Hinton
talking about here. Well, let's take a look at her net favorable ratings nationwide. You know, back in October of 2024, she was at -5 points. Not exactly great, but pretty close to the zero mark, right? Pretty close to even. But now, down under she goes. She's at -13 points. That's an 8-point drop. Since the general election among the overall electorate, she is not well liked at this particular point. The American people, they don't want this. They don't want her. And get this, she's 37 points underwater with independents. If you can't win independents, you can't win the election.
Yeah, it's because she's an idiot. Hillary Clinton is on TV this morning talking about white Christian men are dangerous and doing damage to America. They're cranking up the temperature. She's a harpy from hell. I mean it. She is. She bathes in the blood of virgins every morning to try to stay young. She's actually several thousand years old. She might be Methuselah. I'm not even sure who Methuselah is, but she sounds like, something like that. I think she does. I think she bathes in the blood of virgins because she's such an awful person. But she's saying that white Christian men, who Charlie Kirk was, are the problem. That's just evil. You're just an evil, wretched, awful human being. I am just not taking any prisoners. I'm just tired of this nonsense, to be quite honest. Real quick, I'm looking at a retirement in about 10 years. I got a little bit of time, but, I got to save up some money. Because right now, got to divorce the whole deal. Spent every dime I had on my kids and my wife. So I got to do something with my money. So I took what little money I had, my 401k from selling cars, and I invested in the gold with Birch Gold. Maybe you should too, because since that time, it's gone up 45%. It's gone up 35% since January. Gold. Yeah. And if you get the ball rolling and you convert that IRA or 401k, or you convert some savings into gold with Birch Gold for the very first time, up to $10,000 in rebates in heavy metals. And you know how much I love heavy metal. Woo! Yeah. But you got to do it right away, okay? Get information, because honestly, it doesn't happen overnight. It just can't happen. You can, okay, Birch Gold, make it happen. Bing! It doesn't happen that way. You got to do it now. So if you want a rebate up to $10,000, do this now. Text my name, Rob, to 989898. Rob, to 989898. And you're going to get the ball rolling. You're going to get some information. No obligación, but 35% since this year. That's like Nancy Pelosi kind of level investment, okay? And we don't even add in insider information. Text Rob to 989898. Check out my piece today on Substack, okay? I want payback for America's Stalinistic censorship. It's a good piece. Right now, if you subscribe, it's free. It's free on the Substack. There may be a point that I may charge a little bit because, I'm not rich. I'm not rich by any means. Would love to be. I am rich in a lot of ways because I got you guys, and I'm not throwing a line at you. I mean it. It's really amazing to be here, do what I do for a living. I can't even believe that's happening. And it only took 35 years to be an overnight success. All right. God bless you. America is founded. Donald Trump as he changes this world. Charlie Kirk and his family. And until tomorrow, which is Thursday, don't catch the stupid. I'll see you then. Bye.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.